Let's get started. Welcome everyone to the 2024 Aspect Virtual User Meeting. If you haven't done so, we sent out an announcement that we will start the meeting by introducing ourselves to each other. This is a relatively small online meeting, so we will have time for that. So if you haven't prepared a slide for you, feel free to go to that link, bit.ly 2024 Aspect User Meeting, to make one, or just make one up, and you don't have to have a slide. You can also introduce yourself. Otherwise, I will start this meeting with a quick outline of what it's going to be and what we're going to talk about, and then we'll have the 1-minute introduction of the participants, and then we'll get started with the science talks. So let us begin by saying welcome to you all. We're happy you're here. We want to set some ground rules for this meeting to make sure everyone has an enjoyable experience. The first order of business would be to please keep track of the status of your microphone and mute yourself unless you want to ask a question or you want to participate in a discussion. Feel free to unmute yourself if you want to ask a question, but make sure to not disturb the meeting with background noise. If you're comfortable, please keep your camera on. It makes it much easier for the speakers to interact with you, and also makes the discussions more lively and reduces the barrier to speaking up and to contributing. The presentations and discussions will be recorded and uploaded to CRG's YouTube channel after the meeting for everyone who is not able to attend at this time. You can find the materials of this meeting. So, for example, the schedule, these intro slides that I'm showing right now, and the 1-slide introductions under the link that is shown there, bit.ly 2024 Aspect User Meeting. And that is also where you may find some of the recordings afterwards, but as I said, they will also be uploaded to the CRG YouTube channel. Finally, I want to remind everyone that CRG has a code of conduct that wants to ensure that we have a friendly and inclusive meeting. So please make sure to follow that code of conduct, which essentially says to be mindful to not offend other people. Definitely not on purpose. Definitely not by not thinking about not being considerate of other participants in the meeting. So let me start with a little retrospective on what happened with Aspect over the past year and what we're going to hear about during this meeting. We have a lot of reasons to be thankful for developments in 2023. We had our second hackathon after the pandemic times. That's relevant because it's the second hackathon that happened in person again in Lincoln City, Oregon, in the summer of last year. You can see that the hackathon produced our typical spike of development activity. Last year, we had 27 papers or theses that were published using Aspect. That is only the number that we know of. So this is our annual reminder. Please check our website on aspect.geodynamics.org/publications.html. You can also get there just going to the website and then clicking on publications. And if you see that you had publications that are not listed, then we are currently not aware of them, but it would be good if we are aware of them because we can advertise your publications, and it also helps support Aspect because we can prove that the software has an impact. And I want to thank everyone who spent a lot of time and effort over the past year to keep making Aspect better and for all of the science that you do with it. This is the great promise of such a community project, that we're all working together and making progress together. We had a new release of Aspect last summer after the hackathon, but before the changes of the hackathon were actually merged. You can find the release notes for that version on GitHub, and likely you're already using that version. This is just a reminder that if you're still using older versions, there are some new features. Some highlights of that version are that our online documentation is available under aspect-documentation.readthedocs.io. So that is now the official manual of Aspect. Another change that you may have noticed or may not know about is that you can now compile Aspect in a mode that's called debug release. And if you do that, then you will get 2 executables of Aspect in your build folder, one debug version, one release version, which makes it easy to test models in the debug mode and then run them in the release mode. It's kind of a convenience feature to not have 2 separate build directories or to constantly have to recompile between the 2 different versions. Since the Aspect release, we had already 45 significant changes that are listed on our website. You can see them if you go to development, current changes. And most of them have been implemented at the hackathon last summer. Brief summary about our hackathon. Like I mentioned, it was the second post-pandemic hackathon. We were in Lincoln City, Oregon. You see some pictures on the right that were taken during the hackathon, group picture, a picture of us working. We had 22 participants, 20 were on-site, 2 could only participate virtually. We had daily meetings between the virtual and on-site participants, and we have a hackathon log document that is available on Google Docs, and I think may also be available on the CIG website, but I would have to check on that. I want to mention 2 organizational news before we get started with the introductions. First, as a result of the hackathon, we talked about the future development of Aspect, and it is likely that Aspect's next version will become a version 3.0, in which we expect that there will be some incompatibilities in the parameter files. This is mostly to clean up some outdated formatting and to improve some of the formatting in the parameter files. We will inform all of you once we are more certain about what these changes are, and we will make the change as simple as possible. But this is just a brief heads up that this might happen. And secondly, what is already pretty clear, or what will happen pretty soon, is that Aspect's development version will require updated dependencies and also 2 new packages that were not dependencies so far. So first, we will need a newer version of DL2, version 9.5.0, or any point release after that, which was already published last summer, so that's not too hard. And with that upgrade, we also require a newer CMake version, namely version 3.13. That shouldn't be an issue for almost anyone because version 3.13 is already quite old. It's already 5 or 6 years old. It should be available in essentially all operating systems. The 2 new packages that will be required are NetCDF, that will allow us to read and write large files more easily. It's also a standard file format, and it will be useful if we can require that for all Aspect installations. And a package called Sundials, which is a solver for ordinary differential equations. The reason that would be useful is that in several places in Aspect, we currently implement our own ODE solvers that could be much better handled through that library. Installing both of those should be easy because if you install DL2 using the Candy software, which is our recommended way to install it, then it's very easy to just add these 2 packages into the list of packages that are installed. And all the binaries that we distribute, like virtual machines, Docker images, etc., will have those packages installed as well. So we hope that it will create as little effort as possible and will allow us to make improve the future development of Aspect. We will also have a general discussion session tomorrow where we can discuss this in detail if you have concerns or questions about it. So that brings us to our user meeting this year, today and tomorrow. As you can see, our user meeting has been growing over the past years. We had plenty of participants last year. We also have a lot of participants this year, which we are very happy about. And the purpose of this meeting is really for you to give a sense of what Aspect is used for. So we have a lot of science presentations that use Aspect in some sense. We want to use this time to have discussions about what features are new, what features are needed, what doesn't work, what do we need to improve. And also just to bring our community together and to make sure we communicate our plans. Maybe you find someone who's working on similar projects, you can collaborate, and also just get the community together and talking.